Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion is Parashat Balak. It is a story that is well known, and I'll actually talk about it this Shabbat on our Zoom service. I don't really want to focus on that because, my thought for Shabbat is not always about the Torah portion for the week, but it's often about other things that I'm thinking about that are on my mind, and certainly one of the things that I'm thinking about is a terrible tragedy that occurred early this morning in Florida by Miami Beach. Certainly online, I know a lot of people who are connected to people who are connected to the building where the tragedy took place. Certainly a colleague of mine who is a rabbi at Aventura Jewish Center down in Florida has members of his congregation who are in that building, and at this point anyhow, close to 100 people are missing. Just devastating to hear the news and to see the video of how suddenly it happened, and to me brought back memories rushing back of September 11th, 2001, watching the collapse of those buildings. And it's very troublesome and troubling to watch. And I also think about the terrible tragedy in Israel on Shavuot when a whole bunch of scaffolding collapsed. And thank God not too many people were killed in that tragedy, but it's just defies explanation how these things happen. I know they'll do investigations and so forth and figure out what went wrong eventually, but for us in terms of trying to understand or make sense of how tragedies like this occur and why it's a part of the world in which we live is a little bit beyond us. And I wish I had some words of comfort, but I think back to the book by Harold Kushner, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. And one of the theses in his book is that it's not why. We can't explain why bad things happen to people. All that we can do is modulate the way that we behave, how we react to these kinds of tragedies. So hopefully we can be there for those who are suffering, not just in this tragedy, but in other tragedies throughout the world, to be there for other people, to support them, and to help them through difficult times. This week at Bethel, the Heights Synagogue, we mark the following yahrzeit observances: Saul Ganuth, Jack Danhauser, Branya Gerblick, Marvin Warshay, Bloom Zavelowitz, Elsie Frank Berkner, Leon Balanoff, Rose Schenkelman, Sarah Gabinet, Esther Zavelowitz, Rose Merrimont, Jeffrey Landis, Lee Wolin, Molly Ganuth, and Pearl Siegler. Wishing everybody a peaceful Shabbat.